Do you think that this business has a satanic undertone?
Oh, 100%. 100%. You know, with all the subliminal messages and all the things that are out. See, look, God is very clear. Just to say this first, God says that if you don't know the truth of God, you don't know his word, you will be manipulated, deceived, and tricked. And so you won't be able to see in between the smoke. You won't be able to see the lies because you don't know the truth, which is Jesus Christ, who is the truth, the way, and the life. So I say that to say that if you cannot see with God's eyes, you will not catch what they are slowly taking you into, what deep hole you're falling into of just deception and evilness and crookedness and all kinds of things that they're doing to take our kids and to, kind of in a sense, like they said, sell your soul for the devil just to be famous or make a lot of money.
Do you believe that?
People are getting trapped in this.
Do you believe about the soul?
Well, I don't believe that you could ever sell your soul like that because.
Do you believe that?
I don't believe that you could ever sell your soul because your soul is your soul. You get what I'm saying? I believe that you can make the choice to decide what direction your soul is going to go in what way, you know what I mean? Like, because you're your own person. So God gives you free will. So you yourself only give the devil authority over your life if you allow him to have that authority in your life.
What I'm saying is this. It's funny because you're really outspoken on social media, so I'm going to ask you this question.
I'll say it here. I'll say it anywhere.
Have you seen music stars completely change?
Oh, yeah, 100%.
I've never seen in my whole life seen so many music stars start normal and then start looking like satanic. And that's when I was really like, this is tripping me out.
Right.
Pop people.
Yeah. No,
Pop
I get
people.
it. Yeah, I know. And you're talking about people, once were, and then now they become something else. And
Doja Cat. She's a nice girl from the Valley. Sam Smith. Justin Timberlake's last video. Did you see that video?
No, I didn't see that video. I don't really like.
Turns into there's a whole demon. It tripped me out.
Yeah.
I'm not even religious. I don't go on spouting all that stuff, but I'm seeing this shit more and more, and I'm like. And I talk to a lot of people in the music business, and they talk about how the frequency of music changed in the early 40s to different megahertz and how it can be hypnotic.
Oh, really? Okay.
Now, did you watch football games, halftime shows? Have you ever heard that theory?
Yeah, all day, yes.
And you've heard about concerts being rituals?
100%, yes.
So I'm into that. Yeah. I believe that.
Yeah,
you believe that?
Right, yes, right in your face now. They're not hiding it no more.
Okay, so we're pretty much on the same
Well, you got to
page.
remember, too, if you think about, like, when COVID happened, for example, this is blatantly in your face, 6 feet apart, 666. You got to read all the clues, and that's what I'm trying to tell you, is that when you do not know the truth of God, you cannot recognize the lie of the enemy, which is the devil.
So what is the devil to people? I mean, to you, like, because people get freaked out about it when you talk about it to them. But to me, I just say it's an evil entity. It could take the form of many things.
Yeah, that's true. Demon-wise, if someone got possessed or, a spirit is living inside of them, which is a demon spirit, taking them down, again, a path that they're not supposed to be on or should be on. Bad habits that stay a bad habit because they have not allowed Jesus Christ into their heart to save them.
Mm-hmm.
Things like that. So I could believe that.
I saw you posted something. You were talking about a movie, and you were like, "This movie, don't go see this movie." And I forget what movie it was. It was some Christmas movie, and I think it had to do with Santa.
Oh yeah. Yeah, those are movies that underplay manipulate / trick / deceive people, and a lot of people underplay the devil, as if it's in a subtle way, like, oh, it's not that bad. It's okay that you're doing that. Like, don't worry about it. But it could be okay to human beings, but in the eyes of God, period, it's wrong, incorrect, and not right.
So you think when they do like certain movies And the imagery is such like, do you believe Santa?
It's to manipulate and trick, because that's how you do it. That's why they're starting to, twist around all these Disney movies and stuff like that. Because you got to remember, the devil approaches you as a friend. He approaches you, he's not going to come, because then you're going to know, like, oh, crap, that's the devil. I ain't messing with him or what.
Yes.
He's going to come to you very politely as a friend, very gentle, very, soft and loving. But it's the most crooked person in the world that you're dealing with, and you can't find the red flags in that if you don't, again, know the truth of God, to see the red flags in it, to know my kid should not be watching this.
So do you...
You're going to come very subtle, and that's what's going to take your mind off of who's most important, which is Jesus Christ.
Have your outspoken beliefs gotten you some issues in Hollywood?
Oh, yeah, 100%. I think that's part of the reason why I'm not working as much anymore. That's why we need to do part 2, bro.
When did you start speaking out?
Since I started believing again and went back in 100%, because God says you are meant to share the good news. And that's what we're supposed to do. Like, we're really in a spiritual battle, bro. You remember that our fight is not against flesh and whatever. It's really a spiritual battle. And if you see it from that way, from a kingdom sense, from the kingdom of God, it's the simple thing that we as a person, if you are saved by God, serving God, a disciple of God, have decided to serve Jesus Christ in your heart, but by that, you personally making your own decision to do that, you are meant to share the good news. I know people in Hollywood who, say, oh, I love God and God is this, that, and the other, but they don't speak about God because they don't want to lose jobs in Hollywood. Mm-hmm. So then that's a compromise, and you and there's a fine balance there. And I get that there's a balance and stuff, but I live by this too. When Jesus was walking with the disciples, because remember back then, in Jesus' days, they didn't have social media, cameras, none of that stuff. So they had to walk to preach the word. But I remember there's a story in the Bible where Jesus is walking with the disciples, and one of the disciples said, Jesus, if we're going from town to town to town to town, getting farther away from home, where are we going to eat? Where are we going to sleep? What are we going to do? And Jesus told them, are you not a fool to know that if God takes care of the birds in the air, he's going to take care of you? So he was saying to him, in a sense, he was saying, like, don't worry about it. Like, you're more important than a bird. So if the birds are taken care of, don't worry about it. You're going to be taken care of. Everything, we're going to have a place to sleep. We're going to eat. We're going to be okay. So I just go by that. I say, hey, look, God's going to take care of me. If you're in the fight for him, with him, and for him, no matter what, somehow, some way, it's going to work out. And those are the miracles of God.
But when did you start speaking out on social media?
Probably, I can't really give you like a specific year.
8
but it's
years ago, 5 years ago?
Yeah, somewhere in that neighborhood, but maybe even before that. But my point was, I started speaking out more once I started getting more the knowledge of God and knowing the word of God. Because God himself says, what's mightier, the pen or the sword? And so that's what's mightier, is his word is your weapon. Knowing his word is your weapon, but you can't speak the weapon if you don't know his word.
Yeah.
So you got to know his word to know what the heck you're talking about. And when you know his word, it's like a drug, because all this stuff you see in the news, on podcasts, or, interviews, or in movies or music or whatever, you're able to see like, nah,
yeah,
that's not of God. That's straight up devil. And there's one or the other. There's God and the devil. There's no in between.
Yeah.
So if you know God and the devil, you see all the smoke in between, and you know what's God and what's not God. And then you know what side to take.
Yeah, man. Living around here, and I see a lot of symbols on buildings and architecture. I've been into this for about 4 years now, ever since COVID.
Okay.
Because I did a movie, and long story boring, it was about abortion.
Oh, gotcha.
And they started going crazy on me because I was in an abortion movie. And the movie was basically saying, maybe you should not get an abortion.
Oh, gotcha.
And then people started doing all this shit. So then I started like waking up. And then I got all these different people talking to me about stuff and how this whole town is based. This is a ton of shit. But just, there's the buildings on Hollywood Boulevard. If you look at it, there's a ton of symbols on these buildings.
I know.
From like,
I get it.
Egyptian, like old school, like There is stuff there.
And that's the stuff.
And this town is.
And that's the stuff that slowly starts to process your mind.
Yes.
And takes your mind off of God onto something else. You got to remember that if the devil can distract you, confuse you, he could do anything to take your attention away from Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Which is the foundation. He's got you.
Yeah.
And he knows that.
See, that's where you get people freak out when you start, because they start going like, oh, religion. Because I don't even think you're a religious nut. I just think you have a belief system.
Well, let me ask you a question respectfully. Do you believe in religion?
I believe in what? I believe that there's a God.
But do you believe in religion, though?
Questions. I have questions about it.
Well, let me just give you a small example real quick to make you think of it another way, right? Religion was created to divide.
Yep.
And it was created for power, greed, and control. And religion feels like a system. And if you feel like you can't keep up with the system, you feel like, why am I doing this? It's a personal relationship. So let me just play in my sandbox for 2 seconds. If a man was to knock on your door and just knock on your door, you're home, and he knocks on your door and he says, let me in, man. I want to eat some food and take a shower. You going to let him in?
That could be a vampire.
But are you going to let him in?
I don't think so.
Why not?
Because I would have to feel him out.
But why wouldn't you let him in, like, ultimately? Because what? He comes to your door, says, let me in. I just want to eat some food, take a shower, hang out for a minute.
I don't know him.
Exactly. You don't know him. So here's my whole point. When you stand before God to go into heaven, which is his home, he's going to say, I don't know you. It's a personal relationship. It's just you and God. That's why religion doesn't exist. Jamie Kennedy is going to have to answer for himself. You're not going to be standing in front of God with a lawyer, with a priest, with mommy and daddy, your brother or sister, your best friend. It's just going to be you and God, and you're going to have to answer for yourself. And so when you say, let me into heaven, which is his home, he's going to say, I don't know you. So that's why it's a personal relationship. So you just get to know God, and the more and more and more that you get to know Jesus Christ and his word, and you get to know him, you'll start to know him more and more and more, which in return, you'll start to see more clearly and clearly and clearly and understand more and more and more than you already do.
That's intense. That's intense. So you're telling me you're saying you have to work on your relationship with God.
100%, 1,000,000,000%.
But what do you believe? What is the Bible true? Is church true? Is confession true? Is Buddhism true? Is Muslims true? There's so many different forms.
Let me tell you why I pick God.
But what's the correct?
I'm gonna.
But that's a beautiful way to put that. You put that as real as a heart attack, bro. That was real as fuck. No, I'm not trying to have
don't have a heart attack, bro. Don't die on me. But